Almost there, everybody. A few more seconds and we will get started. Welcome, everyone. All right, you ready?
Here we go. Let's do it.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to Merkaba Temple Online. Whether you're joining us live from Puerto Vallarta or from somewhere across the world, we are honored that you are here. Some of you arrived this morning feeling energized and hopeful. Some of you arrived carrying questions, and some of you arrived carrying uncertainty. And some of you may have arrived feeling something you can't quite put into words, a heaviness, a tiredness, a sense of waiting for clarity, waiting for direction, or waiting for something in life to finally move. Whatever you are carrying today, you are welcome here.
Merkaba Temple is an interspiritual sanctuary, a place where wisdom traditions meet, where contemplative practices meet, where we are allowed to be honest about what it means to be human, and where people from every background, belief system, identity, and life experience are welcome. You do not need to believe what we believe. You do not need to agree with every teaching. You do not need to become someone else to belong here. You are welcome exactly as you are.
Today's service is called The Gift Hidden in the Freeze. And while the title may sound unusual, I suspect many of us know exactly what that experience feels like. The moments when life seems paused, when motivation disappears, when clarity feels distant, when the next step is not obvious, when we begin questioning ourselves because we are not moving the way we think we should be moving. So today we are going to explore a radically different possibility. What if the freeze is not your enemy? What if it's carrying a message? And what if something wise is trying to get your attention?
And before we begin, we are already excited to introduce two new elements to our temple experience every week. Following today's guided meditation, we will be opening small breakout rooms for approximately 10 minutes. This will be an opportunity to connect with other members of the community, share reflections from today's teaching, and hear what is alive for others. There is absolutely no pressure to speak, but you are welcome to share as much or as little as feels comfortable. But we do believe healing happens not only through teachings, it also happens through connection and community.
And if you've never experienced that before, you don't have to do anything. We handle everything on our end. You will just be shifted into a different window where you will see other members of the congregation, and that part will not be recorded. So everything that you share in there will be confidential with those people that are in that group. I'll explain more as we get closer. We also have one more gift for you today. At the end of this service and every service from here on out, we will be sharing a free downloadable guide based on today's teaching. So inside the guide, you'll find reflection questions, contemplations, and simple practices designed to help you continue working through the material throughout the week. It's kind of like homework. So we encourage you to stay through the entire service, stay for the meditation, the breakout rooms, and of course the fellowship to receive the guide. Because some of the most meaningful moments often happen after we stop the recording and after the formal service ends.
And speaking of fellowship, if you've been attending temple for weeks, months, or longer, but have never introduced yourself, today might be the perfect opportunity. We love meeting the people who make up this community. And chances are there are others joining today who would love to meet you as well. Because while teaching matters, community matters too.
So wherever you are, take a slow breath. Allow your shoulders to soften. Allow your body to arrive. And allow yourself to be here. Not next week, not yesterday, and not somewhere else. Here together. Welcome.
The world moves quickly. This moment does not need to. Welcome to Merkaba Temple. Welcome home. All paths are welcome. Om Namah Shivaya. As we begin our service this morning, I want to invite you to notice something. How much of your attention has been living somewhere other than here? Perhaps in a conversation you're still replaying, a decision you're trying to make, or a future you're trying to figure out, or maybe a problem that you're trying to solve. Maybe you've simply been carrying more than your nervous system was designed to carry alone. One of the great challenges of modern life is that we rarely give ourselves permission to arrive. Our bodies may be here, but our attention is scattered across 1,000 different places. And so before we move into prayer, before we move into teaching, before we move into practice, we pause. We arrive. We begin every service at Merkaba Temple with the Adi Mantra, a sacred mantra from the Kundalini tradition that helps us shift from the noise of the mind into the wisdom of the heart. The mantra is Ong Namo Gurudev Namo. A simple translation is I bow to the infinite creative consciousness and to the divine wisdom within. Not somewhere far away, not outside of you, not reserved for saints, sages, gurus, or spiritual experts, but within you. And this feels especially relevant to today's teaching because so many of us have been taught to look outside of ourselves for permission, outside of ourselves for certainty, for authority, and for the answers. But today's teaching invites us to remember that wisdom often emerges when we become still enough to listen. The witness is already here. The awareness is already here. The deeper knowing is already here. So as we chant together this morning, allow yourselves to set down whatever you've been carrying, just for a few moments. You do not need to solve your life right now. You do not need to fix yourself. You do not need to become anything. We invite you to simply arrive.
Okay, everyone, we'll take 3 deep breaths together, and on the 4th breath, we'll chant Ong Namo Gurudev Namo 3 times. The words can be found in the chat. If you know it, sing with us, and if you don't, just breathe, listen, and receive. Here we go. Rubbing the palms together, aligning the left and right hemispheres of the brain, gathering that energy into the heart center, and bringing the hands into prayer pose, taking a deep breath in and release. Deep breath in and release. Deep breath in and release. Deep breath in to begin.
Divine light, in us, through us, and as us, we gather together this morning from many places and many stories. Yet beneath all of our differences, we share something deeply human. We have all known uncertainty. We have all known fear. We have all known moments when the path ahead of us was not clear. And so today, we bring all of it here. The questions, the hopes, the burdens, the parts of ourselves still seeking understanding. And we bring them not as problems to solve, but as offerings. For perhaps nothing is wrong with us. Perhaps something within us is asking to be seen, asking to be witnessed, asking to be loved. Help us remember today that stillness is not failure, that uncertainty is not weakness, and that what appears to be an obstacle may actually be an invitation. Teach us to meet ourselves with compassion, to become curious instead of fearful, and to trust the wisdom that emerges when we stop fighting our experience and begin to listen to it. May today's teaching, meditation, conversations, and fellowship help us recognize the gifts hidden within our own struggles and the strength already living within us. For this community, for the wisdom of the great traditions, for the teachers and guides who have illuminated the path, and for the sacred mystery of life itself, we offer our gratitude. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Guru Om. Amen,
Aho.
Aho, Ashe, and so it is.
And so it is. Okay, everyone. Now we're going to move into mantra, sacred vibration, an ancient technology of frequency. Our mantra today is one that has accompanied seekers for thousands of years. Om Namah Shivaya. A simple translation is, I bow to Shiva. But it's so much more than that. In the yogic tradition, Shiva is not merely a deity. Shiva represents pure awareness, the witness, the unchanging consciousness that remains present beneath every thought, every emotion, every fear, and every season of life. And that makes this mantra especially powerful for today's teaching. Because when we are frozen, when we are overwhelmed, and when we are uncertain, we often become identified with the experience itself. We become the anxiety, we become the confusion, and we become the fear. But the wisdom of this mantra reminds us that there is something deeper. There is a part of us that can witness the fear without becoming the fear, witness the uncertainty without becoming the uncertainty, witness the freeze without becoming frozen.
The ancient sages understood something profound. The witness is never frozen. Awareness itself remains free, even when the body is contracted, even when the mind is confused, even when life feels uncertain, awareness remains. And perhaps that is one of the gifts hidden within difficult seasons. They invite us to discover that what cannot be shaken. So as we chant together today, allow the mantra to become more than words. Allow it to become remembrance, a remembrance of the stillness beneath all movement, the awareness beneath all thinking, and the wisdom already present within you.
So if you know the mantra, please sing along with us. If not, simply breathe, listen, and receive. And if you have your mala, we're going to do 108 Om Namah Shivayas. So if you have your mala, start with the first bead and we'll get through it together. Let me just take a moment to turn the audio to live performance. And will you carry the bass?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Om Namah Shivaya, 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 Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya. So take a moment and just notice what is present now. Notice how that mantra returns you to center. Quiets the thoughts, stills the mind. Perhaps you're feeling a little more spacious. Today's mantra reminds us that beneath every experience there is awareness. Beneath every fear, there is awareness. Beneath every season of uncertainty, there is awareness. The witness remains. And throughout history, there have been men and women who dedicated their lives to discovering that truth directly. Mystics, saints, sages, people who realize that what we are seeking is not somewhere outside of us, but already alive within.
Christopher and I walk the Siddha Yoga lineage path. This is a lineage rooted in meditation, self inquiry, devotion, service, and direct experience of the divine. It is a lineage that points us again and again toward the recognition of our own true nature. At the heart of this lineage is Bhagavan Nityananda of Ganeshpuri, a great Indian sage whose presence transformed countless lives. Though he often taught very little through formal words, his life communicated a profound truth. The divine already lives within you. Awakening is not becoming something new, it is remembering what you have always been.
And that wisdom was carried forward when he died by his disciple Swami Muktananda. Muktananda traveled all throughout the world sharing about meditation, spiritual practice, and the experience of awakening. His teachings continually pointed back toward the same realization. God dwells within you as your own capital S self. And the journey is really not outward, it's inward.
And today, that lineage continues through Guru Mai Chidvalasanandana. I think I might have got that right. A teacher whose teachings emphasized self-inquiry, gratitude, meditation, compassion, and the recognition of the divine presence in everyday life. One of the things we appreciate most about this tradition is its simplicity. Again and again, it invites us to stop searching so far away and begin paying attention to what is already here.
And so here is this week's Guru's transmission. Beloved ones, many human beings spend their lives fighting what is arising, fighting fear, fighting uncertainty, fighting grief, fighting confusion, and fighting themselves. And the more they struggle, the more exhausted they become. So listen carefully. The river does not fight the stone. The sky does not fight the storm, and the mountain does not fight the season. Life knows how to move. Life knows how to unfold, and life knows how to become. Much of your suffering comes not from what is happening, but from believing that what is happening should not be happening. You call a season of stillness a failure. You call uncertainty a mistake. You call the pause a problem. And then you spend your precious energy fighting the very teacher that arrived to help you. So what if the freeze is not punishment? What if the freeze is intelligence? What if the part of you that has stopped moving is not broken, but exhausted from carrying what was never yours to carry alone? When the mind becomes frightened, it rushes toward answers. When the heart becomes frightened, it reaches toward certainty. But the awakened one learns something different. The awakened one becomes still enough to listen. Many of you are waiting for life to tell you who you are. You're waiting for approval, certainty, credentials, permission, or for the world to declare that you are ready. But the sun does not ask for permission to rise. The flower does not ask for permission to bloom. The ocean does not ask for permission to move with the tide. And your soul does not require permission to become what it was created to be. The authority you seek is not waiting in the future. It is not hidden inside another person's approval. It is not living inside a title, a certificate, a role, or an achievement. It is already alive within you. So sit quietly, watch carefully, and become interested in your own experience, not with judgment, not with fear, but with love, because the witness sees what the frightened mind cannot. And when you stop running from yourself, you may discover that beneath the fear, beneath the uncertainty, beneath the freeze, something beautiful has been waiting, something true, something that has never been damaged, something that has never forgotten what it is. Om Guru Om, Jai Guru.
Beautiful. So let's take a breath together, taking a deep breath in.
Yeah, that was a lot. Breathe it out.
And release.
Thank you.
Begin to notice what is present inside of you right now. Perhaps a word, a feeling, a memory, maybe a recognition. Perhaps something from the transmission touched a place in you that has been quietly waiting to be seen. One of the lines that stands out most to me is, "The witness sees what the frightened mind cannot." How often do we carry try to think our way through uncertainty? How often do we try to solve what can only be witnessed? And how often do we rush toward answers when what we truly need is presence? Today's teaching is going to invite us into a deeper relationship with that presence, not as an idea, not as a philosophy, but as lived experience. An experience of turning toward what is here with honesty, compassion, and curiosity.
And before we move into Aeon's teaching, we're going to let music prepare the ground, because there are places the heart can travel that words alone cannot reach. Roy will now share today's musical offering. Roy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, brothers. She says, wake up, it's no use pretending. I'll keep stealing, breathing her. Birds are leaving over autumn's ending. One of us will die inside these arms. Eyes wide open, naked as we came. One will spread out, ashes round the yard. She says, if I leave before you, darling, don't you waste me in the ground. I lay smiling like our sleeping children. One of us will die inside these arms. Eyes wide open, naked as we came. One will spread out, ashes round the yard.
Thank you, Roy.
Of course.
Beautiful. So beautiful. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much, Roy. I love that. Opening our hearts. And now we open our hearts for Aeon, who will be bringing us today's teaching. My love,
All
the
right.
floor is yours.
Scoot, scoot, scoot. There we go. Reminds me of that song, Boot, Scoot, and Boogie. When I was younger. All right, well, thank you everyone who's here, everyone who's listening on our podcast, and everyone who's watching on YouTube. Today's teaching is titled The Gift Hidden in the Freeze. And I want to start with a verse from the Bhagavad Gita that says, the self is born, the self is not born, it does not die, it has not come from anywhere, it has not become anyone, it is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and ancient. So we open in the name of the great mystery that moves through every tradition, every lineage, every breath, the Christ within, the Guru's grace, the witness of the Vedas, the sacred hoop, the beloved of the Sufis, the Shekinah, the Buddha nature that was never born and never dies. Whatever name you carry for the divine, you are welcome here. And whatever you are carrying this morning, you are welcome here. So I want to start by asking you something. This is not a spiritual question, a real one. How did you actually arrive this morning? Not which device you opened, not what time you woke up. I mean, what did you actually carry into this moment? Because some of you woke up this morning with something heavy sitting on your chest. You found your way to the stream, you showed up, and you carried it with you, quietly, the way we often do. And some of you are tired in a way that sleep did not fix. You got 8, maybe 9 hours, and you still dragged yourself out of bed feeling like you had been running for days. Because you had been. And some of you are sitting with a question that just simply will not resolve itself. Maybe a financial uncertainty, a relationship that is unclear, or a direction for your life that does not yet have a clear map or path forward. I know this because I woke up exactly in that place this week. I felt heavy, tired, frozen, not from a lack of sleep, but from the weight of sovereign, self-directed living, from that particular exhaustion of trying to build a life and a livelihood without a clear map forward, from the quiet, grinding pressure of a future that has not yet taken shape. And I sat with it. I moved through a practice of honest self-inquiry. And what I found changed something inside of me. It didn't fix it, but it changed it. And that is what I want to share with you today. In yogic philosophy, we understand the human being as a layered being. Not one thing, but many sheaths woven together, one on top of the other. And in yoga, we call this the koshas. You have the physical body, the energy body, the mental and emotional bodies, the wisdom body, and at the very center, the body of pure bliss. And this body in yoga language is called Anandamaya Kosha. Anandamaya Kosha. The layer where we are closest to the formless, where we are closest to one with the ocean of pure consciousness. So what I discovered in my inquiry this week was that what felt like physical exhaustion was not actually living in my physical body. It was living in a deeper layer. It was in my energy body, in my nervous system. The nervous system is the physical manifestation of the energy body. And I'm sure many of you have heard this phrase before, but the body keeps the score. And the nervous system is brilliant. It is ancient. It is loyal beyond measure. And it does not distinguish between a predator in the grass or an unresolved future. So when we are under sustained pressure with no resolution in sight, the nervous system does what it was designed to do. It activates. It mobilizes. It tries to either fight or flee. And when neither fighting nor fleeing will solve the problem, when the threat is not a predator, but a life that has not yet arrived, it does the last thing in its arsenal. Excuse me. It freezes. And the freeze is not a weakness. Freeze is not a failure. Freeze is the body's most intelligent last resort. It is the nervous system saying, I have done everything I know how to do, and the threat is still here. So I'm going to conserve. I'm going to go still. I'm going to wait. And another creature that does this really well, which is really funny, is if you scare a possum, it freezes and it plays dead. And it waits until the threat is past. And the moment that it feels safe again, it reanimates and it shakes vigorously, shaking its nervous system, shaking its body to release the stress hormones that were released in that moment and not carrying that into the next. And the gift inside the freeze, the thing nobody tells you, is that it is pointing directly toward what most needs your compassionate attention. So the freeze is not the enemy. The freeze is simply the messenger. And sometimes the freeze is not preventing you from finding the gift. The freeze is actually slowing you down enough to finally see what's right in front of you. So the soul is its own witness. The soul is its own refuge. This comes from the Dhammapada, chapter 12, verse 160. So in the Vedantic tradition, there is a practice called Sakshi Bhava. And Sakshi Bhava means witness. Bhava means state of being, the witness state. So it's not analysis, it's not judgment, it's not trying to fix or reframe or spiritually bypass what is arising inside of you. It is the practice of honest, compassionate attention. Simply turning around and saying, what is here? Without any attempt to change it. Of turning toward what is here and simply saying, I see you. So when I moved through my inquiry this week, I did not try to make the heaviness go away. I did not try to reframe the anxiety into gratitude. I did not try to perform my way into a higher vibration. I simply turned around and I faced it. And here's what I found beneath my freeze. Beneath the freeze I was experiencing, there was anxiety. Beneath that anxiety, even under that, was a fear. And the fear, when I finally let myself hear it clearly, said this: am I even capable of building the foundation for the life that I want? Because it all feels so complicated. And the witness, the part of me that could simply observe without flinching, said back, let's look at that together. Is it actually beyond your capacity? Or does it feel that way because you're dysregulated? And when I looked clearly, I discovered something profound. The thing that felt impossible was not impossible, it was simply unclear. And it was unclear because I was frozen, because I was inside a dysregulated nervous system. Because when you're dysregulated, your vision narrows. It makes us see threat where there is only uncertainty. It makes us see impossibility where there is only a path we have not yet mapped out. The Quakers have a practice of sitting in what they call expectant waiting. Not waiting for something to happen, waiting with open receptivity for what is already trying to emerge. That is Sakshi Bhava, witness consciousness, the heart of honest, undefended looking. But there was something else waiting beneath that fear, something I had not expected. Because when I kept looking, kept witnessing, kept refusing to look away at my discomfort, I came to something that had been living quietly underneath everything else. My gifts. Because I have a natural ability to coach and mentor people through deep relational presence. And I have sat with people in the darkest rooms of their lives and helped them find the door. I have watched people shift, not from technique, but from something that lives in me that I did not earn and I cannot fully explain. And I had been waiting for the external credentials to give me permission to fully claim and offer that part of myself. So the inquiry asked me, whose voice is that? The voice that says your natural knowing is not enough. The voice that says you need someone else to certify what you already are. And I recognized it. It was not the market speaking from evidence. It was this old internal voice, one I have been carrying for a very long time. And then I asked to name who I am truly built to serve. And part of who I feel truly built to serve are teenagers or individuals who are experiencing the trauma of addiction, because that is what I lived. So people in active addiction, people in recovery who still feel like something is missing. People who have done everything right and still feel like there is something wrong. People who are frozen. And when I named it in that moment, I cried, because it was not from sadness, but from a deeper recognition that was hiding underneath that frozen layer. Because my authority to serve those people does not come from a certificate on the wall. It comes from the fact that I had an abusive childhood, that I struggled with addiction for nearly 20 years, that I am, by the grace of God, somehow, by the grace of every tradition that has held me, a well-adjusted, self-reflective, balanced human being standing on the other side of all of that trauma. So the tears were not grief, they were the body recognizing how far it has traveled. They were the moment when the witness meets the wholeness that was already there. So out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I will meet you there, said Rumi. So out beyond all of our ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field, and I will meet you there. And that field is Sakshi Bhava. That field is what opens when we stop trying to perform our healing and simply agree to witness it. So why am I telling you all of this? Because I do not think I am the only one who has ever been waiting for permission. We are living in a time of extraordinary uncertainty, economically, politically, relationally, and spiritually. Many people feel suspended between an old life that no longer fits and a new life that has not yet arrived. The freeze is not personal failure. The freeze is not personal failure. It is a collective condition. And it is asking all of us the same question it asked me. So I think some of you are waiting for someone to certify your gift before you offer it fully. I think some of you have a voice that says your natural knowing is not enough, that you need more credentials, more years, more evidence before you feel qualified to be who you already are. And I think some of you are frozen right now, and you've been calling it laziness or weakness or spiritual failure. And it is none of those things. It is your inner intelligence. It is your system doing the best it can with what it has. So I want to offer you what was offered to me this week. You do not need to fix yourself. You simply need to witness yourself, because the witness is not separate from the healing. The witnessing is the healing. The moment you turn and face the thing you have been afraid to look at with honesty, without flinching, something in it loses its power. Not all of it, not forever, but enough. Enough for you to take the next breath, and enough for you to take the next step to become visible. Neti, neti, not this, not this. And yet here, awareness remains. The one who sees is always free, from the Mandukya Upanishad. The witness in you has never been frozen. The witness in you has never been addicted. The witness in you has never been ashamed. The witness simply sees. And in that seeing, there is liberation. So I want to close with this. The thing we are most afraid to look at directly loses much of its power the moment we turn and face it with honest, compassionate awareness. The freeze is not your enemy. It is a messenger holding a gift. So the permission you have been waiting for is not coming from outside, because it is already yours. You did not find your way here this morning by accident. Whatever you carried into this moment carried you here. And here, in this community, in this practice, in this tradition that holds many traditions, you were allowed to set it down long enough to look at it. This is one of the reasons Merkaba Temple exists, not to tell you who you are, not to fix you, but to create a space where you can remember what has always been true. You are allowed to witness yourself. You are allowed to be exactly as far along as you are. And you are allowed to be the gift. So let us close in prayer. Beloved, we have been honest today about what is heavy, about what is frozen, about the voices that have kept our gifts small, and we have witnessed together. May every soul in this community, near and far, wherever you are watching or listening, find the courage to turn and face what most needs their love. May the witness in each of us remember what it has always known. May the gifts hidden in our hardest seasons find their way into the world. May we stop waiting for permission and begin. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Guru Om, Amen, Aho, Ashe, and so it is. Christopher will now lead us in today's guided meditation to embody the teaching. Thank you.
Thank you. That was beautiful. What a great teaching. All right, everyone. Let's move from understanding into experience. So if it feels comfortable, gently close your eyes. And let's begin by taking a slow, deep breath in through the nose and exhaling slowly. Again, breathing in and letting go. Noticing the chair beneath you, the support beneath your body. Noticing that for the next few moments, there is nowhere else you need to be. Nothing you need to accomplish. Nothing that needs to be solved. Simply arrive. Now take a moment to become aware of the sensations in your body. Perhaps there is comfort, tension, heaviness, perhaps ease. Whatever you notice, simply notice it. And recognize you are aware of this sensation, but you are not the sensation. You are the witness. Now become aware of your emotions, perhaps peace, anxiety, sadness, gratitude, uncertainty. Whatever is here today, allow it to be here. You do not need to improve it or fix it. You do not need to make it go away. Simply witness it. Now become aware of your thoughts, the plans, the memories, the questions, the stories, the commentary, and allow them to move through the mind like clouds moving through a vast sky. No resistance, no attachment, no judgment. And recognize that you are aware of the thoughts, but you are not the thoughts. Just noticing. Now bring your mind to something in your life that feels uncertain, something unresolved, something you have been carrying, a situation where you may feel stuck, frozen, or waiting. And don't dive into the story, simply notice it, as if you were holding it gently in your hands. And ask yourself, what if I don't need to solve this right now? What if I simply witness it? What if I allow myself to be curious? What if freeze is not my enemy? What if it is trying to show me something? Just sit with that. No need for answers. No need for certainty. Only openness. And now bring your awareness back to the one who is witnessing all of this. The awareness that has been here the entire time. Aware of the breath. Aware of the body. Aware of emotions. Aware of thoughts. Aware of uncertainty. This awareness has not been harmed by the uncertainty. It has not been diminished by the fear, and it has not been frozen by the freeze. It has simply been witnessed. And silently repeat, I can trust myself to meet this moment. I can trust myself to meet this moment. I can trust myself to meet this moment. And take a slow, deep breath in. And exhale. And begin by bringing your awareness back into the room, back into your body, and back into this community. When you are ready, gently opening your eyes and coming back to this place. Okay, everyone. We're going to try something new today. Let's look at the time. Don't have a lot of time left, so maybe Aeon will have to do like 7 or 8 minutes for the rooms, but we're going to open 2 breakout rooms. What that means is in a moment, you'll be transferred into a room, one with me, one with Aeon and the Horizon Council. And in the room, you'll have a chance to connect with other members of our community and share what arose for you during today's teaching. So just a few simple agreements. Share from your own experience, listen with curiosity and respect, allow everyone space to participate. Today we're trying it out, so we're learning still. So next week we'll give ourselves a little more time than we have today. And remember that confidentiality is sacred. What is shared in the room stays in the room. So we do have some questions that we will put in the chat once we get into the room. But really, we just want you to share a little bit about what stood out most for you from today's teaching. And we'd love for you to introduce yourself to the other members that are in your room. So we'll spend a few minutes in the room. There will be a timer, and then it will automatically bring you all back here. And then we will close the service out together. So let's see. Aeon, are you ready to move people into the rooms?
Yes, I was. So, yes, I am. So we're gonna have David, Tom, and your dad will be you, David, Tom, your dad. Me, Jenny, and Roy will be in room 2. So when I create